All right, what's up guys? Welcome back to the party. This video is going to be on the new Metrix version onboarding. You can see here I've got it saved to my Google account. If you haven't watched the authorization video, check that out. It'd be the one right before this. Shows you how to kind of get to this point where you've got the Metrix menu visible. Before I kind of get started and show you the onboarding, I want to give you a brief tour of what the Google account does automatically. So when you actually authorize this for the first time, it's going to add a Metrix folder within your FBAExcel tools folder, which you'll find in the root Google Drive directory of the account that you set up. So this is all kind of done automatically. Before we had you have to manually build out these folders. It was kind of a pain. So within this FBAExcel tools kind of subfolder, you'll find a folder for every tool that is being used. And within the Metrix tool specifically, you'll find the copy that you actually are using, which I've got open right now. And then you have this Metrix folder structure. So this folder structure is really important for this tool. It is basically how it systematically and very efficiently imports the files and kind of moves them from the new section to an imported section. And there's 4 core reports that Metrix uses to build out the dashboard. You've got an ads product advertising report. We've actually got sponsored brands ads now as well, which you can import into this folder. SKU files, these are going to be your business reports that has like your sessions, your orders, all that stuff. The ranking is what you'd want to set up kind of after you've onboarded your initial reports, and you have to go into Helium 10 and decide which keywords and stuff you want to track. So check out the next video for that. And then the pricing folder, this is going to be just one Seller Central report that we're actually going to use a Chrome extension to get. And then you can see here I've got 2 additional reports that are just used during the onboarding setup, which I'll cover in this video for just getting some initial information related to your products. But within each of these folders, there's 2 consistent folders. There's a new folder and there's a imported folder. And basically what we're going to be doing is Metrix will quickly take us to kind of the tab that we need to in the page that we need to get these reports, but we're going to save them and put all of the new files that we want to import into Metrix in the new folder. And then when we go into Metrix and sync it, it's going to automatically move them from the new folder to the imported folder and then update our dashboard kind of in the process. So that kind of concept's important to understand. And one thing with that, like let's say we've got our SKU reports and we're in this video going to grab like 30 different days worth. But let's say, you know, we've imported them into the new folder, we've synced it for the day, and we notice there's a hiccup or something, or we missed a day. You can just as easily go and get that day, manually put it into this new folder, sync it, and it's just going to move it to the imported. So there's no kind of order of operation type thing where you have to get X days in a row, and if you miss a day, you can't go back and get it. You can definitely just kind of fill in the gaps. At any rate, that's kind of the folder structure. Again, all these folders are going to be in your Google Drive. You can go and check that out before you kind of get started with the onboarding. The authorization video we covered took us up to here where we click the authorization button and we get the menu visible. So from here, we just need to complete these steps and then we're good to go. So the Chrome extension, you'll just hover over here. I like to open it in a new tab and then you can download it. You want to make sure you're using Google Chrome, and the extension is going to be this little pink one. It's called HTML Table Scraper. It's going to help us get a report out of Seller Central. So just make sure you add that to your Chrome, and then you should be good there. The next step is you want to enable business. I think it's called business to business sales. So we're going to just hover over there and again open that up in a new tab. You already want to be logged into Seller Central to do this. If you're already registered, which I will be, it'll just tell you that you're already registered, but if not, it'll give you the option to register. This is just going to show a couple additional columns in your SKU reports or your business reports for business, Amazon business sales. All right, so just enable that, and then the onboarding video is what you're watching right now, so that's right here. So what we need to do now is just basically complete these 5 steps and then we're good to go. So these first 2 steps are just going to take us to the actual place on Amazon where we need to download the reports, and then we're going to download those and put them in the correct folders that I showed you, and then we'll come back into Metrix and import them. So before we do that though, let's add, there's a couple kind of inputs here that we need to add. Our helium 10 ID, we're not going to worry about that in this video. That's actually for the ranking video, which will be next. But this Metrix tab URL, you basically just want to click on this next tab here. All right, so the URL is right here. We just copy that guy like that and go back now to the settings tab. And you're just going to, I like to hit Control-Shift-V to paste the values. All right, and then depending on the market you're in, we've got a few markets here. If you're in a different market and you want to use Metrix, just contact support. And usually this is just related to the images that show up. So we have to kind of sync those, but we can add the market you're wanting to track in. And then start date, you're going to want to set this for either like 14 or 30 days prior to the current day. And then this will dictate to how far back you go to get the initial onboarding reports. All right, I'm going to put for ours actually like 2.6.22 because I've already downloaded some kind of demo files. All right, and then one other thing we're going to want to do that's pretty handy before we download our onboarding reports is if we go up to Google Chrome, go to settings, go over to advanced and downloads, and then make sure this option is on. That'll just reduce some of the clicks that we have to do in order to save the files to the correct spot. And then after that, the other thing you may want to download is Google Drive for desktop. So I'll put a link kind of in this video so you can see where to get it. It's also under the frequently asked questions section of the members area, so you can go there. All right, and to show you that Google Drive desktop application, once you have it, I'll show you how to even add a email because I don't think mine's added. So what you'll do is there'll be a little icon here that pops up. You just click that. You can do up to 4 accounts at one time. All right, and then after you sign in, just this little message here will pop up, hit sign in. All right, and now when we go down here to this little icon, you'll see we've got our dummy Google Drive account set up. So we'll be able to save our files directly now to our Google Drive. So you can click on that. And when you open up your Google Drive, you can see here's our FBAExcel tools folder. So we'll go into Metrix, and we've got kind of our folder structure here. So what you can do to make it even really quicker is put this as a favorite. So if I put that like right here, now if I can click one click there and I can get to the folders really quickly. So that's handy. All right, and then once you've got those settings established, you're just going to go to onboarding and click this first step 1. You're just going to buzz down through and download these. So the first one you're going to need is the all listing report. So you're just going to click all listing report, request report. It'll show up down here in this table. You just hit download. The fee preview report, same deal. You can see it opens you right to the fee preview. If it doesn't, just scroll down here on the left side, click fee preview, request CSV download. But here you'll just click request CSV download. You can see some of these are text version. I like the CSV better. So again, just download that. And you'll just, same deal, save this to your Metrix folder here. You can see I've already got one. So I'm just going to X out. All right, so here's the pricing page, and this is located if you go under Seller Central Pricing, Manage Pricing. So it doesn't automatically take you there. You can manually go there, but the preferences, you're going to actually need to set the same column structure that I have here. So I'll put a screenshot of this up in the center, but you just want to make sure these blue checks match the same on your Seller Central account. Same with the sort orders and stuff. I think these are probably all by default. I'd also go ahead and number the results per page to the max, which is probably 250. Then hit save changes. I've already got them saved, so I'm just going to hit cancel. All right, so once this loads, you can take a look too at the filters that I have set. You may be able to, if you want to bring in like discontinued products and stuff like that, click all, but I usually just do active and then fulfilled by, I do all. All right, so then you're just gonna go down to the center of the table. You can't do like up here or in the header. It has to be right here in the middle. And you're gonna right click and click HTML table and click HTML table scraper. So that's the extension that we downloaded. And then you're going to click copy table to file. And because, again, we have that setting in our Google Chrome, it'll ask us where to save it. I'm going to pretend like today is the 4th because I've already got some demo files saved. But this would be the current day as you're doing it, kind of an ongoing basis, or during onboarding, it'd be the current day, because this pricing kind of data you're only going to track each time you actually go to it. So you can't go back basically with this data and get older pricing reports. The actual nomenclature for the date is important for all of the Metrix files that have a date as their file name. So it has to be month.day.year, and it needs to be like single digit months, not like 03, 04, not 2022. It needs to be in that order. So if you're in Australia or New Zealand or whatever, and you have the backwards date, then come back to the right side and do month, day, year. Hit OK, and then it's going to ask you where to save the file again. You're going to want to put this one in the pricing folder. All right, so we're going to go up to our Metrix folder here, and we're going to go to pricing, and we're going to go to pricing new, and we're just going to save this as that file name is the date. And you can see it's a text document, so we're just going to hit save. All right, and then once you've got that, you're done with this one. All right, on this page, we're actually going to need a product advertising report. So you're just going to hit create report if you don't have one yet. I've already got one, so I'll show you how to do it if you've already got one here after this. But you're going to want to do sponsored products. Then you want to do advertised products. You want to do daily. And then if you've got a custom kind of 30-day range that you're wanting to go back, you would want to custom set that. Right now, for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to do the last 30 days because I have a report already saved. I'm actually not even going to run it because I've already got one, but you just click run report, and then once you click that, so yeah, just make sure you don't have summary. It needs to be daily. That's important. And then once you have that, though, it's going to be in this table. All right, so you can see I've got a ton of reports in here. I really need to clean this up, but let's pretend this one is the one we just saved, last 30 days daily. How you would download it is you just click this little button here, and when you click that, you're going to get the prompt to save the file. Again, I already have one, so I'm not going to save it, but where you need to save it is important. So you're going to need to go to Metrix. You're going to need to go to static for the ad report. You're going to go to static, and you're going to click static new, and then you're going to name this ads, ADS. So do capital A, lowercase d, lowercase s. I don't think the capitalization matters, but just to be safe, that's what you're going to name it. And then again, this is just the onboarding version. So we did last 30 days just to get quite a bit of data in there so we can start analyzing it. But on the go forward basis, you may only want to do a like every 3-day or every 7-day ad report, but it'll be the same process, and you'll come in here and create that report as well. And then you can just kind of overlap a day or two. If you want to do it, say every 3 days, you can overlap 1 day and just make sure you have cohesive data that way. But this is where you're always going to save it, in the static new folder, and that is going to be the ad report. The sponsored brands, you can do the same thing. You can name it ads_SB, as in boy, as opposed to just ads. So that is another report, and that one is under create report. In that case, you would do sponsored brands, and you would do the campaign report. And that's going to be for a daily report as well, and then however many days you're wanting to import into the system. All right, and then the only other thing I'll mention here is once you have, say, like a 3-day or 7-day that you use quite a bit, you can see here I've got a 7-day. What you can do then, you don't have to create a new report each time. You can just come in and hit run report, and it's going to run it for that span based on whatever current day it is. So that's handy. And then once it's done, it'll just show up as done here, and then you can download it and save it to your static folder. So that is the ads report. Now we have gotten our first set of onboarding reports all saved. All that's left to get the data into the system now is we need to grab either, like, I recommend 14 days or 30 days. If you do 30 days, you actually have to do this in 2 kind of phases. You have to grab the last 14, then you have to come back and grab 14 more. It kind of bombs Google Chrome out if you try to get 30 at once. Again, all you'll do, make sure you're already logged into Amazon, hit last 14 days. Make sure the pop-up blocker's turned off, otherwise the tabs won't show up. And I think it just shows up for just a split second up here in the URL that you have to kind of click it and disable it. All right, so one thing I forgot to mention on this is this business report, you can have different column headers, and we need to make sure that you have the consistent column headers that Metrix accepts. And basically you just click this little show hide columns button over here, and because you enabled that B2B, the Amazon business program, you'll have some additional columns here. So you just want to make sure, I'll put a screenshot up in the center of the video, but you just want to make sure that you have all of these selected. And I believe when you select all these and hit save columns that all of the tabs that you've opened will be consistent, but just double check. Worst case, you may have to close the tabs out if you just open like 14 of them. You may have to save these columns in the first one and then go back and rerun the script to open the 14 new reports up. You just want to make sure that all of these business reports from now on have all of the column headers, because Metrix needs all of those to show the data in the system. So anyway, just wanted to mention that. All right, and then once all your tabs kind of refresh and are ready to go, you'll see it drops us into the business reports section of Seller Central. So that section, if you come up to reports, is under business reports there, if you need to go to that manually. But what that script does is it basically opens you to a different day, dating back from the current day minus 14 days. So it'll be real easy to just click one button now and save it to our Metrix folder under the SKU new report folder. You can see down here we're in the detail page sales and traffic by child item. This is going to give us like sessions data, conversion rate data, sales and stuff for even for SKUs that don't have sales that day. Anyway, it's going to take you here automatically. All you're going to need to do now is click download, and you need to remember this date there. So it was 3.22.22. And it's going to open you up in this window. We can just go up to our favorites now, Metrix folder. And for these, they're going to go under SKU, new. And they're going to go, you got to be careful because it's going to do a default date here based on today's date. But if you recall, the date that was selected automatically was 3/22/22. So it's like that. I'd hit save. I'm not going to do it because I've already got some dummy data saved. But you can see there's the 3/22/22. And then you're just going to buzz down through and do this for each one. So the next one's going to be 3/21/22. Save that. Click out of it. 3/20/22. When you're done downloading all of your reports, yours will look like this. And you can see same date nomenclature as far as the day dot month, or I'm sorry, the month dot day dot two-digit year. And you've got all your files in there that you're wanting to import. So I'm going to go ahead and X out of all these tabs now because I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You're just literally buzzing down through and downloading each one. All right, and that first download iteration, it just opened 14 tabs. So if we wanted to do 30 like I have saved in there right now, you'd have to come back and hit this button, and it's going to open you then over 14 more starting from 14 days before today. So then you can get a span of about 30 days. All right, and then once you've gotten all those reports kind of saved to the right place, you're ready to actually start importing them. So first thing you're going to want to do is actually import the all listing, the fee preview data into just this kind of static sheet, and it just helps kind of with some of the lookups and data entry so you don't have to manually enter a bunch of stuff. So the all listing report and fee preview report, we're basically just going to enter these into our Metrix file temporarily. So I'm going to go file import. If you have this data from another one of the FBAExcel tools, you can just copy and paste it over. But I'm going to go ahead and just do this again. So I think we saved it under tools, Metrix, and Metrix folders. So I'm going to grab my all listing report. Let's do that first. I'm going to go insert new sheet, import data. You can see we just need to get the SKU name, ASIN, and then we want to know if it's FBM or FBA. If you're bringing in just all like FBA products and you know that, you don't necessarily have to type that in, but anyway, seller SKUs, the first one we need. Then if you want like a short name for your product, you can pull that in. So I'm just going to drag it over so I can copy and paste this all in one run, and then put the ASIN there. This data is from my buddy Eman Los Angeles, his YouTube channel. He's a good friend. Definitely go and check his YouTube out. It's pretty legit as far as Amazon. Definitely one of my favorite. All right. And then this product type here, this kind of tells you if it's FBM or FBA. So the ones are FBA, I believe. Threes, I think, are FBM. So I'm just going to assume that's the case. You'll know just by your products, but let's pretend that that's what that means. All right, and then you're just going to literally copy this chunk of data, go over to the Seller Central Report tab, hit Control-Shift-V, and that pastes the values. All right, and then once you've done that, you can just delete this. All right, and then same deal with the fee preview. All right, with this one, if you are selling in Canada, it'll show up here as well. So we just want to grab the standard units for now. So I'm just going to, this one's just got standard units in it. But if yours has Canada, you can always put a filter on it and then like filter maybe the dimensional units for inches and then just grab the data like this. Now, I will say, I think the new fee preview report has some extra columns they added. You can see where ours stops. And we did this because some of the other markets stop at weird places too. But expected fulfillment fee per unit, that's kind of the last piece of data we need. And if the version you're using or you're looking at when you're watching this video has some highlighted cells here in the headers, those are literally all you need for the tool that you're using. And that goes across the board with the other FBAExcel tools for this. We use the fee preview report to pick off some critical information, like if we want to look up the ASIN based on the SKU or some of the size, product size things or weights, stuff like that, Amazon fees, whatever. But we just grab this extra data as well. It's not really needed. So if you're in a different market and your fee preview report's not mapping over correctly, just manually put in the ones that are colored. All right. So I'm going to stop at expected fee or expected fulfillment fee per unit. Let's find it. Expected fulfillment fee per unit. All right, so it's right there. So I'm just going to go from there to the beginning. All right, and then literally just paste the values here. Control-Shift-V. And you'll know if you did it right if you don't overwrite this price. That's a calculated field. You can see, and that's going to actually just take the smaller of the your price or sales price. You can see Eman doesn't have a sale on any of his. All right, so once you have that, you're good to just, I guess you can minimize that or hide it, or you can keep it visible. It's up to you. And then I'm going to go ahead and delete this fee preview file. All right, and then if you want to double check your folders, you just go back to your Google Drive account. And since we're getting ready to import everything, it's not a bad idea just to make sure you got everything in the right place. Your SKU new folder should have all your SKU files, and it should be all named just the date. Your static folder should just have your ads report. All right, so there you go, capital ADS, and you can see it's an Excel file. And then lastly, for the onboarding, your pricing. All right, so you can see under pricing new 3422, and it's a text file. So after that, it's hold on to your butts, and we import the data. So it's pretty easy. You're just going to go up here and under onboarding, under step 4, you're going to actually import them independently, and that's because there's just quite a bit of data here, especially with the SKU reports that import. So it's just safer to kind of import them one at a time. But you can see here the 3 steps for the ongoing is very similar. You're going to click this button to get your pricing is the same as the BSR report. You're going to get your pricing and your ads report. And it's also going to open up your rank reports too, and you'll learn about that in the next video. But and then here's your SKU reports. So you can do like last 3 days, last 7, and then like we said, you can do kind of an overlap. But then this daily sync, this actually pulls them in all at once. So once you get to kind of your maintenance mode, you can click just one button and it'll update everything just because it's a lot less, data to import. But if you do still have a lot of data, maybe you just got a massive Amazon account, you can still sync your reports individually, and that'll work better for you. But after we import the files here initially and kind of look at the Metrix dashboard, I'm going to show you a new feature as well to kind of optimize the performance of the tool going forward. But at any rate, what we're going to do now is import our ads report first. So this is actually just going to go over to that static new folder, pull in our ads report, and it's going to actually save it in a hidden sheet. So after these all import, I'm actually going to show you as well the hidden sheets, so you can know and kind of verify that your data is getting imported correctly in case you have any issues. But anyway, import ads is going to be the first one. All right, so you can see it's running some stuff in the background here. It actually imports a ads tab from that advertised products file, and it's going to kind of collapse the data down into a smaller, more manageable piece that we can kind of save in the system. If we keep that advertised products data in there, it would just over time bog the data down and slow Google Sheets down too much. So, all right, so once that script ends, every once in a while, and I'm kind of glad this happened, you'll get this, wow, this document changed a lot. That just means that you've imported a lot of data or something's completely different than when you first started. You can go ahead and hit reload, and that will not do harm to anything. It'll just basically refresh your Google Sheet, and it'll actually make things run a little quicker. Anytime you refresh the Google Sheet, it clears some of the cache. So for now, we've just imported our first ads report, and I'm actually going to show you where that data was saved to. All right, so if you click this little, I think they're called like a hamburger icon, and you'll see there's a few orange dots. These orange dots, with the exception of the Seller Central report, you can open these up and actually see the data that's getting imported. So that's a good way to kind of double check that everything is kind of tracking properly. So this is basically showing us the SKU for all of our ads that we just imported, and then the date. There's the date in another kind of format. And you've got the date and the time. This is used to kind of manage subsequent files and know when to overwrite data and stuff like that. So you don't have to really know all of that information, but just basically know that that report's there, and it's a good way to kind of double check things. Similarly, there's other orange colored reports here that are hidden for there's your sponsored brands report. So there's what you need to name the sponsored brands. It's ads_SB as opposed to just ads that we talked about before. And then your rank tracking report, that's related to the Helium 10 tracking that we'll show you in the next video. SKU metrics. So this is going to be what's next as far as importing our business metrics files, and then our pricing file or our BSR report, that data gets imported into that sheet. All right, so we're going to go back and just import the rest of our data now. We've got our ads in here. You can click authorize, and this authorize button, again, once you've authorized your sheet, in the previous video you watched that, but once you've done that, you don't have to really do anything else here on the settings tab other than just click this authorize button each time to get the menu to pop up. All right, so we've done our ads. Now let's do our SKU files. This is going to take the longest because it was like 30 files, but just go ahead and hit that button there. All right, and then you'll see same thing, finish script. In Google Sheets, anytime you see this kind of green bar loading, you really want to give it a little bit of time to do its thing. It's usually running some calculations or something in the background, and if you go clicking around, it can freeze up the Google Sheets. It's a cloud-based system. And one other thing I'll mention is sometimes you'll notice, early in the mornings, the Google Sheets typically runs pretty fast as far as in the United States anyway, but at night it's relatively slow, and that usually means just a lot more people are using the tool itself. So not FBAExcel tools, just Google Sheets in general. So depending on where you live and what time of day runs quicker for you, you may want to build that into your SOP to use it, because it is frustrating if Google Sheets is pretty slow and there's really nothing you can do about it. All right, at any rate, that is the SKU metrics. You can see here's the tab that it imports the data in, and it gets left up kind of here automatically, so you can just double check things, but you can always hide that as well. All right, so we've got our ads, we've got our SKU files, and all we need now is our pricing. So we're going to go back to onboarding, sync onboarding reports, and we're just going to grab our pricing. If you had your rank files already set up, you could import those as well here, but I'll probably end up actually removing this because most people are not going to have their rank files set up at this point. So import pricing, and we are done with the onboarding reports phase. All right, and then the BSR tab, that's going to have your pricing data that got imported. Make sure if you check it, this is one that typically people, if they don't set up their pricing screen correctly, it won't import correctly, and then they've got some information in the dashboard that just doesn't look right. So make sure you see like buy box price here. It's got your prices. It's got all your inventory and stuff right here, sales rank. So this is kind of a template of what you should be seeing when you check that hidden sheet there. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that. All right, and then that is the last report needed for the initial onboarding process. All right, so once we're ready, we're going to click Build SKU Dashboard, and this is actually going to take all that information that's on those hidden sheets now and apply it to our dashboard. All right, so once this prompt comes up, you can see it's still working in the background a little bit. It's assigning your SKUs, and then you'll see the images and everything start to show up. You can go ahead and hit OK when this pointer finger comes up, but just give it a little bit more time. You can see it says finish script there. It's still working. You're going to start seeing the data actually populate. You just got to give it a little bit of time to refresh. All right, and then once that updates, you'll see all your data kind of populates, and it will take a little bit. All right, so just real quick, a few other things. You've got your SKU dashboard over here is where you're going to enter your cost of goods. You can see I entered just an arbitrary number there. And once you enter your COGS, then your ROI, your profit margin, all that will be calculated correctly. The other thing, so you can see there, all those are populated now. The other thing is if you have more than 10 SKUs, by default, the initial onboarding is only going to import the first 10. So you need to scroll down to the bottom, and you can just check this box here where it's got an arrow pointing to select the SKU, and you'll have more than whatever this is, like 7. You'll have, say if you have 30, you'll have all 30 shown here. You just need to go down through and pick the ones that you want to track and put them on here. And then as soon as you make that selection, the data will recalculate. The other thing, if you have more than kind of what's on here by default as far as blank placements, you can go up and click this add new SKU, and that's just going to add a new section to the very bottom. So then you'd have to go down and select your SKU to import another one. The other feature is this lock data. So you can see I've locked a few cells here with these check boxes. So basically what you do is you can see any that aren't checked have formulas still in them. So if I go up there, you can see the formula in the bar up there. These that don't have fixed values. So basically when you're confident that the data in the column is legit and ready to go and accurate, and you're not going to want to, for example, re-download a SKU report because some of the attribution on Amazon can be a couple days late. So once you're confident everything's good, you can check these boxes, hit this lock data button, and it's going to convert it from a formula then to a fixed value. And that's just going to help your performance across the board as this sheet grows be a lot more efficient. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't want to drag this video on any longer. I will have some notes in the column headers and row headers here, so you can read about what each one is if you have any questions there. But stay tuned for some subsequent videos as well on metrics that will kind of dive into things a little bit more and show you how to evaluate some of these metrics in a little more detail. But anyway, guys, I'll see you on the next training video. Appreciate it.